Are you considering getting a NutriMill grain mill and making fresh flour at home? Are you wondering if it is worth investing in a grain mill or even doing this at all? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to know what flours that you can make, how it's going to help you save money, why it's a great idea to start milling flour at home, and how it's going to help you improve your health. And be sure to stay till the end of the video to learn how to use the Harvest grain mill and clean it. Plus, I have a special discount code for you guys as well. So this right here is the Harvest grain mill from NutriMill, and you need a grain mill in order to make fresh flour at home. It is truly stunning. It's shaped from bamboo and it comes in a variety of colors. I really love earthy tones, so I got the gold color, and you see that here, here, and here. It is quite heavy, so the best thing is to just leave it out on your countertop, which is totally fine since it's so pretty, and its size allows it to fit well on the counter. Plus, it is designed for daily use, so leaving it out on the counter just makes sense when you're using it multiple times a week. You can use this to make lots of different types of flour, including gluten-containing flours and gluten-free flours. It is best suited for milling all types of non-oily grains, beans, and legumes, including spelt, barley, rye, soft and hard wheat, einkorn, oat groats, white and brown rice, millet, buckwheat, quinoa, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and split peas, which is not an all-inclusive list. There are more that you can mill. And you can use this control knob here to adjust the texture of the flour to meet your baking needs. So this allows you to mill fine, medium, or coarse grains, beans, and legumes. And what's really cool is that you can use this to make all different types of recipes, including homemade bread, pizza dough, muffins, banana bread, cookies, fresh pasta, pita bread, and even hummus, and to thicken soups and gravies. Now, one of the things that you're going to love about having this grain mill is that it makes eating healthy food more affordable in the long run. If you look in the grocery store, you'll see just how expensive certain flours are, and it's hard to buy them when you're experimenting with new recipes or even to buy them on a regular basis. Plus, certain flours like black bean flour or quinoa flour can be hard to find in your local grocery store. So if you want them, you either have to drive to a specialty food store or go on Amazon or subscribe and pay money to a food delivery service. Also, having a grain mill allows you to mill just the amount of flour that you need for a recipe, which helps you to save money because you don't have to store quite so many different types of flour. So for example, instead of buying a big bag of black bean flour, I can buy a bag of uncooked black beans, which is way more affordable, and then use my grain mill to easily and quickly make black bean flour. Another example is brown rice. I buy brown rice in bulk because I love to cook with it and add it into soups, stews, casseroles, and stir fries. And now whenever I need brown rice flour for a recipe, I can easily make some fresh using my grain mill. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick moment to ask if you are subscribed to my channel yet. If not, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I am on a mission to help you improve your health, and I would love to have you part of my community. Also, if you are looking for simple, easy to make healthy recipes, check out my cookbook. It contains some of my most popular recipes and a few new ones that I have never shared on my channel before. You can grab it on Amazon, and the link is always in the description box. So thank you, and now back to the video. Now, making flour on demand and saving money on healthy food is great, but the number one reason why you need to be milling your own flour at home is to make your foods more nutritious. Whole grains have historically always been part of the daily diet for many cultures, and they contain many nutrients, including B vitamins, vitamin E, protein, and minerals like calcium and iron. For example, let's talk about wheat. Wheat flour is made from wheat berries, and wheat berries have three parts: the germ, the endosperm, and the bran. The germ is the most nutritious part. The endosperm is where the starch is stored, as well as the proteins that are necessary for making gluten. And the bran is where the fiber is stored, and phytic acid is also found in high amounts here too. There is also a layer between the bran and the endosperm that contains nutrients as well as enzymes that help break down the carbs into their simplest forms. So think of it like an egg. The germ is the yolk, the endosperm is the white, and the bran is the shell. Now, historically, it was common practice to either mill your own flour at home or to get freshly milled flour at a local flour mill in town via the stone milling method. In this method, a grain is ground between two stones, one stationary and one turned by water, animal, or human power. This grinds the grain while keeping the bran, germ, and endosperm intact. Then in the late 1800s, stone milling was replaced by roller milling, which was faster, and it produced a whiter flour by removing the bran and the germ, leaving just the endosperm. So this gave us the very popular all-purpose white flour. And if you buy whole wheat flour at the grocery store, mills will recombine the ground bran with the endosperm, but the germ is left out. And remember, the germ is the most nutritious part of the wheat berry. The reason why the germ is left out is because it makes the flour have a limited shelf life. Stone ground flour goes bad rather quickly because the germ is intact. The germ contains oils that oxidize and go rancid when exposed to oxygen, and it is recommended that you shouldn't store stone ground flour for longer than 2 weeks. And so if mills left it in, then you would never be able to buy flour at the grocery store, which was milled months ago, because it would all go bad. So while roller milling aided our super busy lifestyle and made it so that we don't need to go to a mill to get flour anymore, the flour contains little to no nutrients other than the starchy carbohydrates. Then in the 1940s, the flour enrichment program was instituted, and that made mills enrich the flour by adding some nutrients back in. So this is why you see on the flour that it says that it's enriched. However, only the B vitamins thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin and the mineral iron are added back into the flour, and they are synthetic, meaning that they are not naturally occurring. And I read that for quote unquote about 20 nutrients, there is an average loss of about 70 to 80% in refined and enriched flour. So that's huge. And on top of that, the flour can be further treated with chemical oxidizing agents or bleaches. These flours are then used to make so many of the foods that many people eat every day, like bread. And when it comes to bread, what's even worse is that many more chemicals are permitted to be added to bread before baking, including emulsifiers, conditioners, and preservatives. And additionally, baker's yeast may also contain food additives like calcium sulfate or sorbitol monosterate. So what was once considered a healthy, nutritious food that made up a big part of the daily diet for so many cultures is now considered an unhealthy food due to the mechanical and chemical processing that it undergoes in order to stay on the shelf for months and months without going bad. So the way to make wheat flour and baked goods and breads healthy again is to go back to milling your own flour using the stone milling method. And you can easily do that by getting a grain mill for your home. And it's really fascinating to see the health results that could potentially come from eating foods that contain freshly stone milled flour. I'm going to link some more information on this in the description box, but a couple of things that I've read while I was preparing for this video was a German study that was done on rats. So there were 5 groups, and this here is a direct quote from the article linked below. Group 1 consumed fresh stone ground flour. Group 2 was fed bread made with this flour. Group 3 consumed the same flour as Group 1, but after 15 days of storage. Group 4 was fed bread made with the flour fed to Group 3, and Group 5 consumed white flour. After 4 generations, only the rats fed fresh stone ground flour, and those fed the bread made with it maintained their fertility. The rats in groups 3 through 5 had become infertile. 4 generations of rats is believed to be equivalent to 100 years in humans. So that's very significant. And I have also heard of some being able to, and this is another direct quote, control allergic symptoms by eliminating bleached wheat products from their diet. Additionally, consumption of dietary fiber has decreased in our society as a result of refining flour, and we have also seen an increase in various disease states like cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, also known as type 2 diabetes, colon cancer, hemorrhoids, constipation, and other gastrointestinal issues. And interestingly, based on the same article that I linked below, it also stated that wheat fiber helps to neutralize acids secreted by the stomach and is therefore of therapeutic value for persons with ulcers. And also, dietary fiber helps to produce a feeling of fullness or satiety more quickly, which is helpful in the treatment or prevention of obesity. So, very interesting. Okay, so that's how fresh stone ground flour can help you improve your health. And now I'm going to show you guys how to use this Harvest grain mill. It literally takes less than a minute to make fresh flour, and you can use this flour in any recipe that calls for flour. So it's not just for making bread, but also muffins, pancakes, biscuits, cookies, cakes, and more. So when you get your grain mill, you also get these quick start guides that show you step-by-step how to mill and also how to clean the mill. Plus you get a QR code that leads you to a starter guide that helps you get started, plus gives you some fun recipes to try. So before consuming flour, you need to mill 2 cups of white rice and then discard. And you also use white rice when cleaning if the stones become glazed. So you can remove this top part, which is called the hopper, by pressing this button and turning the hopper counterclockwise. Then lift off, remove the top milling stone, and use this brush, which you get with your grain mill, or compressed air to clean the stones. Then put it back together. You can also use the brush to clean the flour spout. Now to use the mill, plug it into an outlet and place a bowl under the flour spout. Always turn on the mill before adding grain. You can adjust the texture control knob until you hear the stones begin to grind. For finer flour, turn the dial clockwise, and for coarser flour, turn the dial counterclockwise. Then add the grain to the hopper, and that's it. You just made your very own fresh flour. A couple key things to consider is 1, never use water to clean this mill. 2, do not mill oily grains or seeds. So it's not made for milling flax seeds, nuts, sesame seeds, coffee beans, herbs and spices, or sprouted grains, since those contain moisture. And all of this can be found in their instruction guides. And number 3 is freshly stone milled ground flour still contains gluten. So if you're sensitive to gluten, you can take this a step further and get into sourdough, which helps lower how much gluten is present. I explain this in my sourdough health benefits video, which I will link at the very end. And if you have celiac disease, then you still need to avoid any gluten containing flours. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can use this grain mill for both non-gluten containing grains and gluten containing grains. However, it's not recommended to use the same mill for both if you or someone in your family is very sensitive to gluten. You'd need to get 2 mills at that point and designate one for gluten and the other for non-gluten containing grains. Okay, so that's how to use this grain mill, plus how having a grain mill can help you to save money in the long run and help you to improve your health. I absolutely love it, and it's been really fun learning about it and how to cook with it. I recently got a new cookbook with lots of fun recipes to try, and I plan on sharing more as I learn more. I am on this journey with you guys. I recently got into all of this past year when I began with sourdough because I really wanted to learn how to make homemade bread because I was sick and tired of settling for what's available at the grocery store. So when you're ready to get your own grain mill, you can use the link in the description box to shop for one. NutriMill has 2 grain mills, the Harvest grain mill, which is the one that I showed you guys in today's video, and another one called the Classic grain mill, which is a really pretty all-white grain mill. And you can use code SIMPLY20 for $20 off your order. I have this link in the description box of all of my videos and on my website's shop page so that you can easily find it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more about sourdough and how to make a starter so that you can start making fresh sourdough bread and other sourdough foods at home, then click on these videos right here. I explain what sourdough is, the health benefits, I show each day in making a starter, the best starter kit, how to easily feed it, store it, and what the difference is between active starter and sourdough discard. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, stay well, my friends.